Good afternoon. My name is Emily Orr, and I am Associate Curator and Acting Head of the Product Design and Decorative Arts Department at Cooper Hewitt Smithsonian Design Museum in New York City. I'll be presenting the paper, Our Search for Symbols, at Cooper Hewitt Smithsonian Design Museum. Thank you for the opportunity to join you today to take you behind the scenes of the exhibition, Give Me a Sign, The Language of Symbols, that recently closed at the museum. I am grateful to members of the Symbol Group, especially Sue Perks, who have contributed their valuable knowledge and enthusiasm to this project. This exhibition was an interactive and participatory experience for visitors to explore the histories behind many symbols that we encounter every day and to create their own designs. We hope that the exhibition encouraged people to pay more attention to symbols and look at them in new ways. I might even pause for a second here to ask you all to consider what symbols you may have used today. Maybe a symbol played a role as you were boiling water on the stovetop, or waiting for the signal for a pedestrian crossing at a busy intersection, or securing your Wi-Fi connection and turning up your volume for this presentation. This project was sparked by the discovery of this important book in Cooper Hewitt's permanent collection. This is the Symbol Sourcebook, an authoritative guide to international graphic symbols, published in 1972. The book's front cover is shown at the left, and a page spread at the right shows the book open to a section on basic symbols. These are the building blocks of graphic symbols, what the publication calls the ABCs of symbol systems: left, right, up, down, on, off, fast, slow. This publication, written and designed by Henry Dreyfuss, was a tool for the creation of new symbols, giving designers the insight and inspiration to create new forms to meet new needs and new contexts. Though it was published over 50 years ago, the Symbol Sourcebook is still used by designers as a reference today. As its name suggests, the book was also an authoritative guide, or a compilation that categorized thousands of symbols in use internationally. It showed the many roles of symbols, from building community across language barriers to communicating mundane yet critical information. As we started researching the fascinating contents and far-reaching impact of the Symbol Sourcebook, we realized it could be a compelling historical starting point to look at symbols now and explore their evolution and. The book was overseen by the American designer Henry Dreyfuss, seen here standing in front of a few posters in his office in California. The posters feature lists of triangles and show his symbol research process. Dreyfuss and his team created many diagrams to illustrate the different messages that the same shape could send across different cultural contexts. Shape, color, and orientation work together to reinforce meaning. An inverted triangle, as seen on the poster beside him, could mean stop in Japan or mark a Planned Parenthood location in India. Cooper Hewitt is uniquely positioned to tell this design story about the Symbol Sourcebook and about the publication's author, Henry Dreyfuss, due to our unparalleled holdings in these areas. The museum keeps the Henry Dreyfuss archive, which contains years of project documentation, collages such as this one, correspondence, publicity materials, draft layouts, and more. One of the exhibition's aims was to bring this material into public view for the first time. And as we started to conceive of a gallery space and exhibition design, we wanted to create an experience that evoked our own process of archival discovery. Opportunities to learn from primary sources were present through imagery, video, text, touch, movement, and participation in the design process. I will now walk us through the visitor experience and these various modes of interaction. This is a view of a white archway with raised symbols that sets off the entrance to the exhibition. From this image and the installation images that will follow, you can get a sense of how the historic architecture of Cooper Hewitt's building is always in the background. Cooper Hewitt's exhibition galleries are inside Andrew Carnegie's former mansion on Fifth Avenue between 90th and 91st Streets. This impressive house was completed in 1902. This archway is set against the walls of the entrance hall, which is grand with carving and stamped wallpaper and gridded paneling. Because symbols are predominantly visual and thus have the potential to be exclusionary to people who are blind or have visual impairments, it was critical to ensure that our exhibition design offered different ways to experience the content. This archway features a series of stacked blocks, and on each block is one of 20 symbols that Dreyfuss and his team identified as basic, as seen earlier. These forms are the building blocks of symbol language. Before even stepping into the exhibition, this archway is meant to signal that interaction is welcome in the show and introduces a please touch label. Give Me a Sign also offers an audio tour designed as an independent experience for visitors who are blind or have low vision. This audio tour was accessible via a raised QR code in the galleries and can also now be accessed online from home or on the go. And so as we step into the first gallery, the title wall and its stop sign are the major sight lines. The image at the left shows the layout of this first gallery in the former music room of the Carnegie Mansion. The image on the right-hand side of the screen shows a page of basic symbols. This side-by-side pairing is meant to illustrate how the in-gallery experience directly drew from the source book itself. The exhibition and graphic design were produced by Studio Matthews, a Seattle-based woman-owned small business and practice of designers, teachers, and makers. They created a design with a wonderful visual resonance with the publication. The modular gridded layout of the pages lifted up to become a set of freestanding walls that carry a series of panels, artwork, and didactic text. The font selection and color palette are also shared. There is also a play of positive and negative space throughout both the graphic layout of the book and the exhibition. Blocks of red are visually strong and carry the guiding questions for each section. In this gallery, the first question posed in the case below the title wall is, what is the Symbol Sourcebook? This helps to foreground the narrative around the archive and hopefully focus people's attention on this amazing resource. The gallery also includes the question, what is a symbol? These two posters helped to demonstrate the basic design elements of shape, color, and line that come together to create an effective symbol. In this gallery, visitors might also choose to interact with a graphics wall to learn more. This wall asks, where do you use symbols? The graphic illustrates how we use symbols almost everywhere. They provide instructions and directions in a cityscape, enhance mobile chats with friends, and communicate our identity and our interests on the clothing and accessories we wear. People can open the flaps in the cityscape to reveal the meanings of different symbols in use. This slide shows a few of the graphic elements on this wall and one detail of how the recycling symbol could be highlighted. In the cityscape, the trash pan appears on a subway platform. Other symbols featured include musical notes coming out of a man's saxophone, someone working from home and using Wi-Fi, and a march with people carrying posters at street level. After the first gallery establishes some basics about symbols, the second gallery offers an opportunity to explore how symbols function as a system at the Olympics. As visitors enter this gallery, they might encounter a prompt at their feet reading, can you mimic the sports symbol using your body? In the center of this room, there is a projection of a historical Olympic sports symbol. Visitors are invited to mirror the pose, standing on a mat, as we see. At left is a layout for the interactive directions on the floor and a selection of poses used with the projector at the right. In thinking through the theme of the Olympics, we wanted to prompt visitors to use movement as a way to explore symbol design and think about how the body and its movements have played an important role in the evolution of sports symbols. This gallery also connects back to the Symbol Sourcebook. The recreation section features the symbol systems from the 1948, 1964, 1968, and 1972 Olympic Games. The pages of the recreation section text became the gallery's graphics, and the imagery and text appears on large Tyvek panels hanging at the gallery's corners. At the core of the exhibition, we wanted to create an interactive experience that took inspiration from the creative activity of Dreyfuss's office. Here, visitors can design their own symbols and contribute to a hypothetical symbol sourcebook of 2024. They can create symbols at the glowing interactive activity table at the center and hang their symbols from clips on the central wall at the right. This gallery foregrounds stories about collaborative design and how symbols are designed for and by communities. It combines historical sourcebook content with real-world examples of how symbols have changed over time. This gallery poses the question, how is symbol design collaborative, and offers an answer through telling the origin story of the Symbol Sourcebook. Teamwork, crowdsourcing, and the diversity of opinions and disciplines that were consulted during the research process created a design resource that is still in use today. Dreyfuss wrote, "There were literally thousands who contributed invaluable material, and to all of them, my gratitude." This was a project of intense collaboration. Thousands of symbols were collected and organized. Reams of correspondence, shown here exploding from a filing cabinet, was being carried out with parties all over the globe. Teachers, traffic administrators, the Olympics Committee, scientists, modern artists, students, designers, doctors, and so many more. From the thousands of symbols that were collected and organized, hundreds were carefully selected to be redrawn and featured in the book. From June 22, 1970 through late 1971, a woman named Pamela Holliday, pictured here at work, drew by hand most of the symbols that appear in the gridded layout of the Symbol Sourcebook. In 2022, Sue Perks visited Pamela Holliday at her home in California. Pam shared her stories of her experience working on the book. On Cooper Hewitt's website is an illustrated summary of Sue's interview with Pam as part of a whole series of blog posts that Sue has shaped around her discoveries in the archive. Crowdsourcing and an in-depth evaluation of public opinion on symbol design was central to the Sourcebook's development process. This slide shows a questionnaire that the Dreyfuss office distributed worldwide. It was entitled Our Search for Symbols and solicited designs. It included background on effective symbol use and asked the public for their ideas. These symbols, received by mail at the Dreyfuss office, were considered for inclusion in the source. The questionnaire included a specific challenge. Can you design a symbol for push and pull? Dreyfuss pointed out how this basic motion was so difficult to symbolize. The archive contains dozens of push and pull designs, all carrying their own personality and regional context. People of all ages and backgrounds sent in suggestions, and these are two of our favorites, showing a wheelbarrow and a sleigh to symbolize motion, submitted by an 11-year-old in New Jersey. This push and pull prompt provides a bridge to the next exhibition experience of designing your own symbol at the interactive light table. Dreyfuss intended to expand the sourcebook with the creation of new symbols, and we are opening up that opportunity in the galleries by offering visitors the opportunity to contribute. The interactive light table includes symbol instructions, opportunities to trace design elements, and a spinner with prompts for inspiration. An aerial view of the table and some of the graphics for the design instructions are shown here. The graphics on the interactive table took direct inspiration from the graphic form and color sections of the Symbol Sourcebook. As the last step in their design process, visitors were invited to share their symbols and clip them to a wall of the exhibition, allowing them to serve as inspiration for the creative thought and work of future visitors. It has been amazing to see the conversations around issues, feelings, opinions, and more through symbols on this wall. Here are just a few examples of visitors' compelling designs. From left to right, we have musical confusion, focal point, toddler thoughts, and underground rave here. To see more visitor designs and read a reflection by my co-curator, Adriana Birkins, please see Cooper Hewitt's website for her blog post. She outlines a few major takeaways and, in her words, describes the following themes. Many submissions reveal a love and concern for our planet and its future, as well as a desire for connection, understanding, and commonality. Visitor submissions here explored both symbols meant to keep us physically safe, as well as symbols that encourage us to consider and care for our mental health. Many submissions highlighted the power of symbols to communicate shared experiences. Visitors experimented with outlines of arms to depict grief, overlapping shapes to reference themes ranging from philosophical concerns to a desire to fit in, and the juxtaposition of positive and negative space to represent the ups and downs of relationships. For many visitors, layering with colorful, simple shapes was the best way to express community, collective power, and collaboration. While many of the symbols from the Symbol Sourcebook are still with us in their 1972 iterations, many have also changed over time for the better. We wanted to feature a narrative about the importance of change in symbol design in this gallery. We posed the question, how do communities redesign symbols? Through the story of the accessible icon, visitors learn how symbols can be adapted and changed by those who use them. From 2009 to 2011, the Accessible Icon Project formed a community-based effort to redesign the symbol into an empowering image that now shows a person pushing forward on their own. At right is an image of the transition of this design on a reserved parking sign. This display on the accessible icon invited visitors to touch a large metal stencil seen shining at the center of this image. This stencil is used to paint over and update the indications on the pavement of accessible parking spots. Here and throughout the galleries, we aim to show how symbols are featured across a range of formats, on pingback buttons, knobs, vehicle controls, posters, parking lot stencils, and of course, on our screens. In terms of connecting with contemporary context, thinking about how we use symbols on screens was essential. In one of the last sections, visitors explore some of the most ubiquitous symbols of the digital age, emoji. This section asks, how do symbols get personal? This is a pegboard inviting visitors to fill in the blanks of sentences with the emoji that they choose to contain their intended message. Visitors can watch and hear stories of designers who have made it possible for more people to see themselves and the causes that they care about on the emoji keyboard. The exhibition offers one final moment of interaction, a quiz. This wall invites the visitor to open panels and guess the meanings behind some symbols that they encountered earlier in the show. Often Dreyfuss included symbol games and puzzles in his promotional materials for the project. And in that same spirit, I will end today with a game of my own. Does anyone have a guess at the meaning of this equation? We came across this puzzling drawing in the archive. It was Cooper Hewitt's photographer who, when taking this image, suggested that the meaning could be father and son. What do you think? All ideas welcome. Thank you so much for listening.